Right now.
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 Because it's time to right now.
Welcome to another daily motivation stream. Today is consecutive day 394 of writing streams, episode 265, as we embark on getting some more work done in our stories. We're going to be doing not one, not two, but 3 writing sprints as we try to make some progress in our storytelling for the day. Welcome to the community. I'm Kaufman, and I'm on a mission to put a dragon on all the problems of the world. So let's join and let's get into it because we're starting right now. Now we're going to chat and I'll check in with everyone during the breaks and we'll get into some more writers chat. But I feel like the first writing sprint is always a good starting point for us to be able to kind of get into the writing vibe for the day. As you can see, I have my setup here. I'm once again so happy I have started the table of contents. I'm like, okay, this kind of gives me a good point in where I'm at with my story so far. But first, let me hop into the comments. Calvin, welcome. ML, good to see you guys in here today. Hopefully the writing vibe is treating you well for the day. Calvin, it looks like you're thinking about setting up a platform you're getting into starting on Ream. That sounds really good. Good luck with that process. I'm not familiar with Ream personally, but I know a lot of writers in the community who are. So that could absolutely be a really, really great opportunity if you're really trying to build your presence and build an awareness with other writers. Hey, what's up, Courtney? Welcome, my friend. Hopefully getting some good edits done on Falling for the day. We're all going to see what we can do. So I want to get right into it. I am trying to be more productive this month. So I'm going to hop into our first writing sprint. I am finally get back into the process and mindset of my beloved Pixie, Pebble the Pixie. We are here. I'm probably going to review her character bio real quick and then get into her writing, especially because she's a predominant major character. So that's what I will do. I'll probably pull up her character bio in just a second, but I think I'm ready. So whether you are brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right, writing timer, writing sprint done. Congrats, 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 my friends. So we were able to get through that first writing sprint and hopefully get into the writing vibe. How did that work out for you? Were you able to get any writing done that time, or maybe even some brainstorming? And I saw a couple of you pop into the chat. I know Holistic, Inca, Oscar, welcome, my friends. I would love to hear how the writing vibe has been going today. Have you already been able to get in some writing for the day, or are you just getting into it? I know for myself, I had to start with some. I had to start wrapping my head around Pebble's backstory. I was struggling for a little bit there. I don't know why. I think because Pebble is such a predominant character. I feel very, very good about the new direction that I've taken Mr. Crow in this novel or in this draft. I'm loving the eccentric weirdness that's evolving from his character. And I realize that I have to do the same thing with Pebble. I really want to better define who she is. So I really better want to define her personality. So it's clear when I'm done with this draft, it's clear who our Pixie is, and that she is as likable for a different reason outside of Scarecrow and Crow. And yeah, so it's kind of what I've been thinking through. So I wanted to go through her backstory. I reviewed my character notes for her. And I think what's interesting is, well, Mr. Crow is lost and is basically, well, Mr. Crow's forgotten everything and is searching for his family who's already been killed many, many times ago. He's kind of just become this eccentric character. Pebble, on the other hand, willingly gave up her soul in her quest for revenge against the first demon, but over time has lost her memories as a result of giving up her soul. So now she has she actually does have a really cool power, but she doesn't really remember how to use her power. She's basically forgotten by this point most of the things, which she forgot what she was originally searching for, which was revenge against the demon. And then B, that she has this awesome power, and she compensates by trying to join these groups throughout these lands. And she ends up playing pranks because she feels like she's searching for something, but she just doesn't remember anymore. So she's kind of become this notable prankster. She's very like put up your dukes and fight type of character. She's small but packs a punch. She's a pixie who does not know how to fly. She doesn't remember that either. So like I know she's a fun character. I really want to elevate her voice and make her personality very distinct when she's originally introduced. So that's kind of where I'm at with Pebble's character, kind of thinking through it because it's her intro chapter. Courtney, 420. Sorry, 420 word count. You're like, all right, well, 420 is a good word count to get. Oh man, well, you definitely got more than I did. Courtney, you definitely did for sure. Oscar, like I got a chapter tweaked as I found my edit list had gotten too long for my comfort zone. As I found my edit list had gotten too long for my comfort zone. I really have to edit as I go. Otherwise, I get overwhelmed as it piles up. Yeah, and I mean, that totally makes sense. I mean, it also depends on what draft you are as well. Some writers like to write and edit, especially during the first draft. I understand why they go back and forth. And I think it's a little bit of a different process for everyone. Usually what I would say is if like you have a good strategy for completing books and you feel confident, like, okay, I can write and edit and I will complete the book, that's great. But what I find with a lot of writers, I'm not saying this for you, Oscar, but just in general, I find with a lot of writers is that sometimes they can spend too much time editing in the original draft and then they never end up finishing the book because they spend too much time editing the book. And I think it comes down to expectations of ourselves and what is the goal of the first draft. The goal of the first draft is just to write a story. Maybe it all makes sense, maybe it doesn't, and to enjoy the process. Really, because the problem is if we go back and edit and we do too much editing, that's going to get changed later on in later drafts. We're going to get feedback from alpha readers. We're going to get feedback from editors. And then what if the feedback that they have makes us change the things that we had edited? and then that ends up wasting time, when in reality, our goal, we just need to get the original drafts out. So I am a fan of editing to an extent, but not like overly editing. Otherwise, I feel like it just ends up getting wasted in the long term. Let's see. Inca, you're like, it's 10:30 in the UK, so I'm getting a bit of late night draft again after a day of editing. Oh, that's good. That's good that you were able to get some substantial progress then today. Sounds like a lot of us are on the editing vibe today, which I absolutely love. I'm always pro editing. Calvin, managed to finish my prologue in New Storm book. That's exciting. That's really, really exciting. Getting through a whole chapter is really, really awesome, my friend. Susan, writing with half Dr. Pepper, half Pepsi. You know what? I feel like all of us writers, we always got to have like our thing that we're drinking. I already drank some caffeine for the day, so now I'm just on sparkling water. Not that exciting. Draft 1, chapter 22 of my first ever novel. Well, it sounds like you're making some good progress overall, author. That Oscar, I'm like author. Oscar, that's really, really cool. You're like, yeah, I heard that advice over and over, but honestly, when I took that advice, I stopped writing completely for 2 months because I was just vomiting crap. Interesting. But honestly, when I took that advice, I stopped writing completely for 2 months because I was just vomiting crap. Interesting. So then what that tells me is then you're writing, the way that you're writing is you're writing at a certain level. And then if you don't refine it, you feel like you don't have a certain you don't like what it is that you've written unless you kind of go back over it. That's actually really interesting. I'd be curious to know how much time you spend editing on per thing. But here's the thing though, if it works, like if your process works for you, then it works for you. Like that's awesome. That's actually really awesome. And I think this is one of the beautiful things about writing. If you have a process that might not work for other writers, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think what it comes down to is, does our process allow us to be consistent over a long period of time for us to eventually finish our book? And I think that at the end of the day is what's important. It really is. You're like, which one is it? Now I am confused. Google. I know. I'm not sure which one you're talking about either, my friend. But Google is always our best friend. Let's see. I'm like, how much self-editing do I do? But I mean, granted, I also have a lifetime. I also have a lifetime of writing experience. So I know that when I first write something, I'm able to produce something that actually, it's not horrible, but I don't feel like it's always garbage when I first write something. So I mean, anytime I start a writing session, I usually do a revision, an edit, a pseudo edit / revision, what I just wrote for me personally. Yeah. I try not to let myself be overly critical of my writing in the original drafts. So I can try to push myself to the drafts a little faster, or just overall in general. So yeah, but Oscar, it sounds like what you're doing is working for you, which is great. That's awesome. It sounds like your process is working. Awesome. And like I said, I'm really trying to push myself this month for making some substantial progress. So that is what I'm doing with Scarecrow. And I'm going to hop back into it. So we're going to do another round of 25 minutes. And yeah, come join me. It sounds like everyone's getting a bit of editing in today. I'm just going to push myself back into Pebble. I got to wrap myself around this Pixies mindset. So we're going to see what happens. Whether you're brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Come join us because it's time for our second writing sprint. Let's write now. All right. Writing sprint number 2 completed and done. Woo. All right. I felt much, much better about that sprint. Sprint number 1, I felt like I was trying to get into it. It definitely took me a little bit longer to get into it than I'd anticipated, but I think that's because I'm working with a new character here, so I know that was kind of important. Like I knew that was definitely important. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we do. So I was pretty happy about that. I think, yeah, I was like, yeah, I like what I've done with her intro now. I wanted, like, I know she was already feisty in the original draft, and I think I'm really playing up the feisty level of it. I want her to be like this little, like, tiny, like, warrior, little, comes across as like little fighter who has no attitude, or who has a high attitude. And I want it to be kind of comedic at first, but then she's going to, you'll see the other side of her personality in the coming chapter, or actually in a coming moment. We're about to see another a quick shift in her personality, which I think will be funny. So I think I'm enjoying Pebble so far. I'm just like, I missed her. It's crazy. You guys know when you're working on a draft for your story and you're not with a certain character or main character for a while, just from the storytelling process, and get back to them. And I'm like, wow, it just feels like it's been too long since I've worked on this character specifically. I know, especially because I've been on Act 1 for a few months, and Act 1 has predominantly just been Scarecrow and Crow. Hey, what's up, TR? I saw you hop in. For some reason, I thought the stream started at 6. I was like, yeah, I don't think the stream started. I was trying to think. Granted, I don't know what your time zone is, but I know Tuesdays the stream is usually, I tend to do my Tuesday stream in the late afternoon. Even last Tuesday, it was the same time last Tuesday as well. So our late stream, TR, that you're probably thinking of is the writers group. Tomorrow is the writers group, which is later. So our Wednesday writers group on Wednesday, that's the late stream, where that one is at 4 Pacific, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern. Yay, Inca, you're like 641. Fresh and delicious words. That is great. What a great way to think of the words, like fresh and delicious. I absolutely love that, Inca. It sounds like you got some great work on that one. Pebbles. I know, right? That's my other fun little main character, Pebble the Pixie. Pebbles. Yeah, I was like, what nicknames do I use for her eventually? I mean, I think I might go Pebs at one point. Pebbles, Pebble, P. Yeah, I'm like thinking about nicknames that I use in the long term. Hey, what's up, SD? Welcome, my friend. Hopefully the writing vibe is treating you well today, and you're making some solid progress on your work. So very cool. And I know I took you up on your advice on your stream the other day, and I checked out your, what was it? The crowdfunding, one of your crowdfunding workshops you did, and it was really awesome. It was very helpful, by the way. You had like a crowdfunding masterclass, and it was super informative, which was super cool. I know I'm like doing a lot of kind of thinking through crowdfunding option for Scarecrow, so I'm kind of just in that planning stage right now. Asked you, like, only here for a minute. I'll keep you up for watch. I'm going to be hanging out on Dale's channel to hear Dana talk about making more profit from your books. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Absolutely appreciate you stopping by. I know there's a lot of really informative stuff going on over there, so I appreciate you taking time to stop by. Yeah, and I saw her. Yeah, I saw Dana popped in at the end, which was super cool. But it sounds like we're making some good progress today. Hopefully getting some good news, thinking about the process of getting our books out there, right? And especially those here in the community, right? A lot of us might still be in the writing process, but eventually you want to be able to make a living off of your books. And I think there's so many strategies that you can use when you're developing your book. No, crowdfunding is one strategy, which I'm definitely a fan of. And I mean, for those of you who've been here on the stream, or you checked us out on the last podcast episode of the Right Now-a-thon, we've definitely talked about crowdfunding a couple of times. I know I've had a couple of creators on here, and we've chatted through what a couple of different crowdfunding strategies. It's really interesting. It's funny when I remember Carissa was like, there's literally no reason for you not to do crowdfunding because it literally costs $0 to start a crowdfunding campaign. And I just thought that was funny. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's a valid point. Oh man, TR, you're like, the imposter syndrome's been hitting hard. I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh man, I'm like, imposter syndrome. That is always a doozy. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. You know what? It's interesting because I never really deal with imposter syndrome personally. I always feel pretty good about my skill level and about where I'm at as a writer. Do I ever feel like I'm doubting my ability? I mean, I used to. I actually used to deal with a lot more imposter syndrome earlier on in my writing career when I thought I was like a failure as a writer. But I think these days, I know because I put in so much consistency, I'm just happy with what I produced. And if it's great, it's great. If it sucks, it sucks. But yeah. Yeah, I don't think I doubt my skill. I'm like, do I doubt my accomplishments? No, because I mean, I feel pretty good. I mean, I've streamed for almost 400 days now, so I feel pretty good about that. I think what helps me is I focus on the amount of the consistency I've done, and I feel really good. Granted, I've been writing most of my life, even in years when I stopped writing, and I think that's helped me personally. And Tiara, I can also speak to having personally read your work before. You have a really good skill level as a writer. So like I can say even without a doubt that you definitely have skill as a writer. I know others have checked out your work too. So I think it's always important to think about like, we can get trapped in our heads, but then pulling ourselves back and thinking about like, okay, is this a fear that's within my own head, something that's in here, or is it, what are the facts? And I think that defining what is a fact and then what is an irrational fear can help sometimes. But I know a lot of writers really struggle with imposter syndrome, so I know you're not alone. Yeah, I definitely want to say everything you write is bad. There's some things that we write that are bad, but I think that's normal. And if you're talking about like rough drafts, are you talking about like rough draft? Or are you talking about like a later draft? Like most of what writers write in the rough draft is probably not that great. Yeah. Alyssa, you're like, oh, I'm here. You have so much information in my journals. Aw, that's really, really awesome, Alyssa. Thanks for sharing. SD, like, I love what Becca Syme said about imposter syndrome. Only imposters don't get imposter syndrome. Only imposters don't get imposter syndrome. Of course, that may not apply to everyone, but I like it. That's actually that's a funny quote. I like that as well. I've been writing for years too, Susan. Yeah, Tiara, we totally got you. You know, anytime if you're feeling imposter syndrome, we'll remind you that you are not an imposter. You are a real writer, my friend. Yeah, Calvin's like, my rough drafts are always rough. I think a lot of writers' rough drafts are always rough. But I would love to hear if anybody has strategies that have worked for them for overcoming imposter syndrome. Drop it down in the chat. I'd love to hear if anybody else's imposter syndrome strategies. Susan, you're like revising. That's what rough drafts are for. Yep, completely agreed. Completely agreed. It's absolutely what rough drafts are for. So, Terry, like it's an early draft, definitely. I'm just feeling the pain of it right now. Yeah, so I think it's also important, Tiara, to clarify what are the expectations of the draft, right? So like sometimes you might be writing things and you're like, hey, this just isn't good. But I think it's remembering that that's not necessarily a comment on your skill level as a writer. And that's just where you're struggling at that point of the story. It's like, and I mean, I can even speak to, I was starting today and my first sprint, I didn't feel like my first sprint was as effective as I wanted it to be. And I was really struggling to just kind of wrap my head around Pebble and the Pixie and like trying to really cement her because this is such a big moment for this character. Pebble is actually one of, I would say like the 4 major characters in the story, and her setup, I really want it to be spot on. I really want it to be perfect. So I'm investing time. So I was definitely struggling at it because I had high expectations, but I'm like, okay, the second draft, it needs to be better than where it was at, but it doesn't have to be perfect because the story's still going to go through a revision later on after this draft, of course. So I just had to clarify what my expectations were for myself. Holistic, you're like, I like your strategy, right? If imposter syndrome's knocking, you're like, yo, bro, you got to go. You're like, that's a good way to deal with imposter syndrome. Tell them, kick them out. You're like, that's just the part of your brain that's trying to bring you down. All right. And by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, follow and subscribe. We're here every day with the Right Now community with a daily writing motivation and writing sprints, author interviews, critique shows, writing technique stuff, workshops, masterclass, and much, much more. If you're looking for a daily writing motivation community, this is the place for you. With 395 consecutive streams and counting, we help writers with the process, lifestyle, and mindset that it takes to be a writer. So click that follow button, click that subscribe button, or if you're already a community member, tap the share button and let's bring more writers to the community right now. All right, beautiful. So we're going to hop into our third writing sprint. And I think this time I feel pretty good on time. Let's see. I am going to challenge us. I'm really going to challenge us. Let's see. Yep. All right. I believe we can do it. So I'm going to challenge us with a longer sprint for this last one. I really want to get progress. So like I said, as I get into the month of February, I'm challenging myself with longer writing sprints because I need to get more done. So I invite you, come join me. Instead of 25 minutes, we're going to be upping it just a little bit. And we're going to be doing 40. I'm going to challenge us with 40 minutes for this last sprint. It's only another 15 more minutes. By this point, I think we're in the writing vibe. I think we're in the mindset. So I feel confident we can get it. We can really get into it. I feel pretty good with where I'm at with Pebble. So let's do it, which means that I got 40 minutes on the clock. I got that. Whether you're brainstorming, writing, or editing, that's all part of the process. Let's up that word count goal. Let's do it. Go big or go home, because it's time to start the sprint and write now. All right. And that was writing sprint number 3. Were you able to make any progress that time? I know I did. I definitely made a little bit of progress. I was hoping I could get through the chapter, but not quite. So I feel like I did the first half of the setup for Pebble's introduction, which was pretty good. It's like I liked the first half of the setup. Yeah, I liked that. I did like the first half of the setup, which worked out very, very well for Pebble. So far, I'm happy with what I have, and now I have to just make some slight adjustments and revisions for the back half of this, so that way they'll have a reason to continue on to the gardens. Yeah. I was like, how much did I actually get through? Let's see. Okay, so I did just under 1,000 words. So, but I know I definitely got stuck in the first writing sprint. So, granted, I'm at a big point in the story. So overall, I'm not too bad. I feel like I was able to get some progress today. Awesome. And Susan, it sounds like you were able to get some like revised 5.5 pages, maybe 6, which is awesome. Hey, what's up, Bethany? Y'all just missed our third writing sprint. Yeah, just wanted to say hi. Let's see, 239 words in the last 9 minutes. Woo, Courtney making some progress. Nice. Let's see. And Inca, nice. Like 1,019. Getting close to the end of this scene. So I'll finish it, then head to bed. Thanks for the sprints. Absolutely. And Bethany, like you got 8 new baby goats in your farm. It sounds like that's really, really cool. Sounds like you got some fun things going on your end. And I know I felt pretty successful. I feel like we did 3 writing sprints, roughly about an hour and a half, because I ended the third sprint a little longer. But today we got some solid work done. So that has been awesome. And yeah, continuing on my goal to make more progress and really push myself. All right. And that brings us to creative writing on the morrow. So I'll be back tomorrow with the Right Now Writers group. Make sure that if you want to come hop on stream with us, let us know. And that way you can come join the writers as we chat about all things writing and then get some writing done, or come join us in the stream. As always, our Wednesday writers group is at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be here tomorrow. Will you? And if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button way out. Help us show the algorithms that writing streams are cool. All right, my friend, it's been great. We were able to get some solid progress done, and it has been a nice stream. Thanks all for joining me. Susan, Inca, Bethany, even though you hopped in on the end, Courtney, Holistic, I know, Tiara, Calvin, SD. I saw a bunch of you guys hop into the stream. It was great seeing all y'all. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of the stream. Don't forget, words are wind, but stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on tomorrow. Stay creative, writers.
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.